Henry lived a peaceful life, tending to his garden and sharing his home with his loyal cat Milo. Despite financial struggles in retirement, Henry found joy in his simple routine. His life took an unexpected turn when he responded to an ad seeking a grandfather figure for a young girl named Luna, who had been paralyzed after a traumatic event. Driven by empathy, Henry stepped into Luna's life, offering her the support she desperately needed. Through their growing bond, Luna began to heal emotionally, and to everyone's amazement, she eventually took her first steps. With Henry's encouragement and love, Luna found the strength to reclaim her life, transforming their shared journey into one of hope, resilience, and joy. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Before we dive into this story, please let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Henry, a man well into his golden years, led a life of quiet solitude in his quaint suburban home, nestled on the peaceful outskirts of Chicago. His daily routine was a calm and simple one, filled with the nurturing care of his beloved garden and the quiet companionship of his loyal cat Milo. The serenity of his surroundings provided Henry with a much-needed sense of peace, yet beneath the calm surface, he wrestled with a heavy burden of managing his modest finances. His small pension barely stretched far enough to cover his essential living costs, and Milo's increasing medical needs only added to his financial strain. Despite these challenges, Henry found deep solace in the small joys of his quiet life, cherishing the simple moments of tranquility his suburban haven offered. His daughter Linda resided in the city apartment Henry once called home. She was an art teacher, deeply passionate about her craft, yet her life was far from easy. Linda, too, faced her battles struggling to find a balance between her demanding job and the personal hardships she could never quite escape. Though life was chaotic for her, she remained close to Henry, maintaining their bond with regular visits, even when it wasn't always convenient. Henry appreciated these visits, knowing how much she had on her plate. He understood that Linda's life was busy, and though she had her challenges, he never wanted to be a burden to her. One crisp, cool autumn afternoon, Henry sat in the comfort of his cozy living room. The warm hues of the setting sun filtered through the windows as Milo lay peacefully curled up on the arm of his favorite chair. Henry was casually scrolling through the computer, passing the time, when a peculiar advertisement caught his eye. It wasn't the usual sort of classified ad he came across. This one read, "Grandfather for a girl needed. Contact us." The oddity of the ad intrigued him. It seemed so out of place. He paused, unsure whether to laugh or take it seriously. After a few moments of hesitation, curiosity got the better of him. Despite his initial uncertainty, he decided to dial the number provided. The phone rang only twice before a warm, welcoming female voice greeted him. "Hello, this is Jessica." Henry cleared his throat, feeling a bit foolish, and replied, "Hello, my name is Henry. I saw your ad about needing a grandfather figure. Is this real?" "Yes, it is," Jessica responded kindly. "I'm looking for someone to be a grandfather figure for my daughter Luna. She's been through a lot recently, and we believe having a supportive, caring presence in her life might help her heal." As Jessica spoke, Henry listened intently. He learned that Luna was an 8-year-old girl who had endured something no child should ever have to face. She was confined to a wheelchair following a traumatic event that had not only robbed her of her mobility, but had left deep emotional scars as well. Luna had been paralyzed after witnessing her grandmother's sudden death, an experience so devastating it had broken her spirit. Jessica explained that Luna was now withdrawn and struggling to cope with her pain, both physically and emotionally. With quiet hope, Jessica expressed that perhaps someone like Henry, someone patient and kind, could provide the emotional support Luna so desperately needed. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Henry felt a lump rise in his throat as Jessica spoke. His heart ached for the little girl, and despite his struggles, he felt an overwhelming desire to help. The thought of being a comforting presence for a child in need stirred something deep inside him. For a brief moment, his financial worries and the demands of caring for Milo faded from his mind. "I'd be happy to meet with you to discuss this further," Henry said softly, trying to hide the nervous flutter in his chest. The following day, as promised, Jessica arrived at Henry's home. She pulled up in a sleek car with a stern-looking driver who waited outside as she stepped into Henry's modest but warm and welcoming house. The place was humble, yet it radiated warmth, with potted plants lining the windowsills and a cozy atmosphere that immediately put her at ease. Henry greeted her with a kind smile at the door. "Thank you for coming," he said, offering her a cup of tea as they settled into his living room. As they sat, Jessica began to open up about Luna's situation in greater detail. "Luna is a bright, sensitive child, but the trauma she's been through has left her fragile," Jessica said, her voice filled with quiet determination. "I truly believe that having a grandfather figure, a steady, compassionate presence could help her find some joy again. There's something magical about the bond between children in the older generation." Henry listened closely, feeling the weight of her words. He, too, shared stories of his life, of his years working in a factory, of his retirement, and of the deep affection he had for his companion Milo. He wanted Jessica to know that despite his humble circumstances, he had a heart full of warmth and a genuine desire to help. Jessica smiled softly, reassured by Henry's sincerity. "You seem like just the person who could make a difference in Luna's life," she said, her eyes reflecting hope. "If you're willing, we'd love for you to meet Luna and spend some time with her. You could be the person to bring light back into her world." Moved by Jessica's words and the thought of making such an impact on a young life, Henry nodded, his heart swelling with both nervousness and excitement. His simple life, once filled with quiet routines, might soon take on a new and profoundly meaningful purpose. Henry smiled warmly at Luna's soft confession. "I'm sorry to hear that, Luna. Cats have a way of becoming family, don't they? Milo's been with me for so many years now, I can't imagine life without him. Maybe one day, if you'd like, you could come visit him." Luna's eyes brightened just a little, and Henry sensed the beginning of a connection. It was subtle, but in that small moment, a bond was beginning to form. As the two sat there, Henry felt his earlier nerves slowly fading, replaced by a gentle determination. He could see that Luna was a quiet child, reserved but still curious, and he wanted to offer her the support she needed in her fragile world. Jessica, watching from a distance, caught Henry's eye and smiled, sensing the hopeful energy in the room. She had been nervous too, wondering if this arrangement would work, but seeing Luna respond to Henry, even in small ways, reassured her that she had made the right choice. Henry and Luna continued talking for a while longer, mostly about the simple things, about how Henry had planted flowers in his garden that spring and how Milo loved to chase butterflies, even though he was getting too old for such antics. Luna giggled softly at the thought of an aging cat chasing butterflies, and that sound, small as it was, filled the room with a warmth that hadn't been there before. As the visit came to a close, Henry stood up and gently placed his hand on Luna's shoulder. "I'll be back soon," he promised. "Maybe next time I'll bring some pictures of Milo for you." Luna smiled, a real smile this time, and nodded. "I'd like that." Jessica walked Henry to the door, gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you, Henry," she said quietly. "I can already see a difference in her. I think this is exactly what she needs." Henry nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose welling up inside him. "I'm glad I could help. She's a special little girl. I'll do whatever I can to be there for her." As he left Jessica's home and the car took him back to his own quiet suburban life, Henry felt different. It was as if something inside him had awakened a renewed sense of belonging, of being needed. He had spent so many years in quiet solitude, but now he had the chance to make a real difference in someone's life. It filled him with a warmth that pushed away the loneliness that had sometimes crept into his days. That night, as Henry sat in his modest living room, Milo purring on his lap, he thought about Luna. He imagined the journey ahead, knowing that it wouldn't always be easy. But for the first time in a long time, he felt ready for the challenge. He felt that perhaps this was what he had been waiting for all along, a chance to give his love and support to someone who needed it as much as he did. The days that followed saw Henry and Luna's relationship blossom. Each visit brought more shared stories, more laughter, and even a few moments of quiet understanding. Luna began to open up, slowly letting go of the pain that had been holding her back, while Henry found a new joy in being a part of her life. Together, they built something special, something that neither of them had expected, but that both of them needed deeply, a bond that would change them forever. Henry blinked in confusion, slowly registering Luna's trembling voice and her fragile form standing by his bedside. For a moment, everything felt surreal. His heart raced, not from his discomfort, but from the shock of seeing Luna, the girl who had been confined to her wheelchair, now standing, albeit shakily, by his side. Her eyes were wide with fear, her face pale, and her hands were gripping the edge of the bed for support. "Luna, you're standing," Henry whispered, his voice raspy and filled with disbelief. Luna's eyes welled with tears as she realized what she had done. She hadn't walked in so long, hadn't even believed it was possible anymore. Yet in that moment of desperation, Her concern for Henry had pushed her beyond her limitations. The weight of her fear had momentarily overpowered the chains that had bound her. She looked down at her legs, still wobbling under her weight, and then back at Henry, tears spilling over as the adrenaline started to fade. I didn't even realize," Luna stammered, her voice choked with emotion. I thought you were. I was so scared." Henry reached out, his hand trembling, and gently took hers, his heart swelling with a mixture of awe and concern. "It's okay, Luna. I'm all right," he reassured her, despite still feeling a bit weak himself. "You're amazing. Look at what you just did." Luna's legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the bed beside him, her tears now flowing freely. "I was so afraid something had happened to you," she cried softly. "You've been so kind to me. I don't know what I would do if I lost you." Henry, deeply moved by her words, felt a lump form in his throat. He had come into Luna's life hoping to be a source of strength and support for her. But in this moment, it was Luna who had become his strength. The depth of their bond was clearer than ever, and Henry realized just how much they had come to mean to each other. "You're not going to lose me," Henry said gently, brushing a stray tear from her cheek. "We're in this together, remember? You've got Milo, and I've got you." For a long while, they sat together in silence, the room filled with a deep sense of understanding between them. Luna, though still shaken, found comfort in Henry's words. She realized that in her fear for him, she had pushed herself beyond what she thought was possible. The fear had given way to a new kind of strength, one born out of love and connection. As the minutes passed, Luna's breathing steadied, and Henry's color slowly returned. He took her hand again, this time with more strength, and smiled. "You saved me, Luna. In more ways than one." Luna smiled through her tears, her heart swelling with relief and a sense of accomplishment she hadn't felt in a long time. "And you saved me too," she whispered back. Later that evening, as they sat together with Milo purring softly beside them, Henry thought about the unexpected journey their lives had taken since meeting. What had begun as an arrangement to help a lonely child had grown into something far more profound, a friendship that healed them both in ways neither could have imagined. Henry, who had once lived a life of quiet solitude, now had a reason to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose. And Luna, who had lost so much at such a young age, had found someone who truly believed in her. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop it too in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Jessica and Sarah were stunned when they learned what had happened that day. They could hardly believe it when Luna told them she had stood up for the first time in months. It wasn't a miraculous cure, but it was a step both literal and emotional toward healing. The relationship between Henry and Luna had become the catalyst for something incredible. From that day on, their bond only deepened. Henry's health improved, and with Luna's newfound courage, her rehabilitation sessions took on a new meaning. Each visit became more than just spending time together. It became a journey of rediscovery, of pushing past limits and finding strength in one another. And while life still had its challenges, Henry's financial struggles, Luna's ongoing recovery, the warmth of their friendship made each hurdle seem a little less daunting. Together, they found not only solace but joy in the simplest moments, whether it was playing with Milo, planting flowers in the garden, or simply sitting in silence, knowing they were no longer alone. In the end, what had begun as a small, curious ad in a classified section became the turning point in both of their lives, proving that sometimes the most unexpected connections can lead to the most profound transformations. "Luna, what's wrong?" Henry asked again, his voice still weak, but filled with concern as he saw the tears streaming down her face. "I thought something bad had happened to you." "I was so scared," Luna said, her voice trembling as the tears fell harder, her fear still fresh. Henry, deeply relieved yet touched by her concern, gently took Luna's hand in his. "It's okay, Luna. I'm just resting. You were so brave to come over here to check on me." As Luna sat back in her wheelchair, she noticed something different about her legs. The surge of fear and adrenaline that had flooded her system seemed to have stirred something inside her. The sensation of standing, even if just for a brief moment, left her with an unfamiliar sense of determination, one she hadn't felt in years. The realization settled in Henry's presence, his care, and the deep emotional connection they had formed were awakening a strength within her she hadn't known was still there. Shortly afterward, Jessica arrived to pick Luna up. The moment she stepped into the room, her breath caught in her throat. There, standing with Henry's support, was Luna. Her daughter was standing taking small, tentative steps that Jessica had not seen in years. Overwhelmed with joy and hope, Jessica's eyes filled with tears. It was a sight she had almost given up on, but here it was, unfolding right before her. "Luna, you're walking," Jessica whispered, unable to contain her emotion. Though Luna's steps were shaky and brief, the joy that spread across her face was undeniable. Henry, standing beside her with a proud smile, gave Luna an encouraging nod. The breakthrough marked the beginning of what would become a remarkable transformation in Luna's life. With Henry's unwavering support, the bond they had formed only grew stronger, and it became clear that this was more than just a fleeting moment of progress. It was the beginning of Luna's path to recovery. In the days following that weekend, the air in Jessica's home was filled with renewed hope and excitement. The breakthrough had sparked something profound within Luna, a desire to push forward, to reclaim the strength she thought she had lost forever. Henry continued his regular visits, and each time he came, the atmosphere was light, filled with optimism. Luna's confidence blossomed with every passing day. Her rehabilitation sessions were no longer just something she had to endure, they became challenges she eagerly faced, buoyed by Henry's gentle encouragement and the warm friendship they shared. One sunny afternoon, Henry and Luna found themselves at the pool, continuing their usual routine. The water had always brought Luna a sense of peace, but with Henry by her side, these moments were now filled with laughter and joy. As they floated in the pool, Henry began to share more stories from his past, his voice light and filled with humor. "You know, Luna," he said with a chuckle, "when I was around your age, I was always getting into some kind of mischief. Once, I accidentally broke my neighbor's window with a baseball. I was so scared, I thought I'd fix it myself before anyone noticed." Luna's giggle echoed across the pool. "Did it work?" "Did they catch you?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Oh, they caught me all right," Henry laughed. "My parents were definitely not pleased, but it taught me a valuable lesson about being more careful and maybe a little sneakier next time." Luna giggled again, her earlier worries forgotten in the warmth of the moment. She loved hearing Henry's stories, and his lighthearted tales had a way of making her feel carefree, even if just for a little while. As they swam and laughed, the heavy burdens that had once weighed Luna down seemed to lift, and for that afternoon, everything felt as it should. After their time at the pool, they wandered the garden, taking in the beauty of the blooming flowers and the sound of the gentle breeze. Luna felt a sense of peace, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Henry's presence had become more than just a source of comfort, he had become a pillar of strength in her life. And for Henry, these moments with Luna were equally healing. In supporting her, he had found a renewed purpose that filled his once quiet days with meaning and joy. Back at Jessica's home, Sarah, the housekeeper, had noticed the remarkable change in Luna as well. The quiet, withdrawn girl who had once spent most of her days in silence was now filled with life. She laughed, she shared stories, and she approached each new day with a sense of curiosity. Jessica could see the difference too. The light in her daughter's eyes that had been missing for so long had returned, and she knew that much of it was because of Henry. "He's changed her life, hasn't he?" Sarah commented one evening as she and Jessica watched Luna and Henry chatting in the garden. Jessica nodded, her heart filled with gratitude. "Yes, he has. He's given her hope, something I couldn't do on my own." Over the following weeks, Luna's progress continued. Henry's stories, their shared moments of joy, and his steadfast support had become the foundation of Luna's emotional recovery. And while there were still challenges ahead, the bond between Henry and Luna had proven to be the key to unlocking a new chapter in her life, one filled with hope, love, and the belief that anything was possible with the right person by your side. As Henry prepared for his usual visit to Jessica's house that evening, he couldn't shake the growing fatigue that had settled into his bones. His high blood pressure had been flaring up lately, and though he tried to push through, determined not to let his health interfere with his commitment to Luna, his body was demanding rest. Reluctantly, he lay down for a moment, telling himself he just needed a little break before heading out. However, deep inside, Henry knew he wasn't feeling quite right. At Jessica's home, Luna eagerly awaited Henry's arrival. Seeing him had become the highlight of her days. His presence was a source of comfort and joy, and his absence now felt unsettling. As the minutes turned into hours, Luna's excitement turned to worry. Jessica, sensing her daughter's growing anxiety, glanced at the clock and realized Henry was unusually late. Concerned, she picked up her phone and dialed his number. The phone rang longer than usual before Henry's voice, weak and tired, finally answered. "Hello, Jessica. I'm so sorry, but I'm feeling a bit under the weather tonight. I didn't want to risk bringing anything over if I'm not well." Jessica's heart tightened with worry. "Henry, your health is the most important thing. You need to rest. We can always reschedule." Henry, though touched by her concern, was determined not to make a fuss. "I'll be all right. I just need a little rest. Don't worry about me." Back at Jessica's house, Luna was growing increasingly restless. She missed Henry's familiar presence and couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in her chest. As the evening wore on without a word from him, Luna's worry deepened. Her mind raced with thoughts of something being seriously wrong. That familiar sense of helplessness crept in, and she longed for the reassuring sound of Henry's voice, the steady comfort he always provided. Later that evening, Jessica received an unexpected call from Sarah, who had stopped by to check on Henry after hearing about his condition. Sarah's voice was tinged with concern as she explained that Henry wasn't in great shape and suggested they go see him in person. Jessica didn't hesitate. She quickly gathered Luna, and together they made their way to Henry's suburban home, hearts heavy with worry. When they arrived, the sight that greeted them took Luna's breath away. Henry was resting in bed, his face pale and his body looked frail. The weariness in his eyes was unlike anything Luna had ever seen in him before. Her heart sank, and without a second thought, she tried to rush to his side. In her panic and overwhelming concern for Henry, Luna didn't even realize that she had forgotten about her wheelchair. Motivated purely by her love and worry for the man who had become such an important part of her life, she found herself standing and moving toward him. Jessica rushed to Henry's bedside, immediately checking his vitals and ensuring he was stable. Though startled, Henry was relieved to see them. His face softened with a tired smile. "It's okay, Jessica. I'm just tired. I needed to rest," he said weakly, his voice reassuring despite his obvious exhaustion. Luna, trembling but determined, made her way over and took Henry's hand in hers, her fingers shaking with emotion. "Henry, I was so scared. I thought something was wrong," she whispered, her voice thick with tears. Henry, touched by Luna's concern, gave her hand a gentle squeeze. "I'm okay, sweetheart. You were so brave to come here. Don't worry, I just need a bit of rest," he said, his voice soft but filled with warmth. The bond between them was evident in the way they held each other's gaze, a silent understanding passing between them. Jessica and Sarah carefully helped Henry back into a more comfortable position, making sure he was settled. Luna remained by his side, unwilling to let go of his hand, her fears slowly ebbing away, but leaving behind the raw intensity of the moment. The scare had shaken them all, but it also served as a reminder of the deep love and connection they shared. For Luna, that night marked a turning point. Her fear had given her the strength to rise from her wheelchair, driven by her desire to help the one person who had been there for her when she needed it most. And for Henry, it was a humbling reminder of the profound impact their bond had made, not just on Luna, but on him as well. He had been determined to help Luna heal, but in many ways, it was Luna's love and courage that were healing him, giving him a renewed sense of purpose and strength. As the night wore on, they all sat together in the soft glow of Henry's modest home. Jessica looked at her daughter, who was still holding Henry's hand tightly, and felt a surge of gratitude for the man who had become so integral to their lives. The journey hadn't been easy for either of them, but the bond that had formed between Henry and Luna was undeniable and stronger than ever. The incident had left them shaken, but it also deepened their connection. Henry's gentle presence continued to be a source of strength for Luna, and in turn, Luna's bravery gave Henry the hope and resolve he needed to take care of himself. Together they were more than just a little girl and an elderly man. They were family, bound by love, courage, and an unspoken understanding that they would always be there for each other, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Over the following weeks, Luna's determination to heal and regain her strength only grew stronger. She approached her recovery with a newfound zeal, driven by the unshakable bond she had formed with Henry, along with the constant support from Jessica and Sarah. Day by day, the changes in her were becoming impossible to miss. Her once uncertain steps grew more assured, and her smile, something that had once been a rare sight, now graced her face often. The emotional strength she had drawn from Henry had given her the resilience to push through even the toughest moments. Henry, too, found his health improving. The time spent with Luna and the purpose he had rediscovered in helping her had revived him in ways he hadn't expected. He continued his regular visits to Jessica's home, each one a treasured reminder of the deep connection that had blossomed between him and Luna. It was clear that the companionship they shared was as healing for him as it was for her. Weeks turned into months, and Luna's progress was nothing short of miraculous. What once seemed like impossible goals had become Luna's reality. Her once hesitant steps had evolved into confident, steady strides, and her once quiet demeanor had been replaced with laughter, joy, and vibrant energy that filled the room wherever she went. Henry had become a cornerstone of her recovery, his unwavering support helping her realize that anything was possible with love and determination. Henry's visits became a cherished part of the family's routine. They weren't just focused on Luna's rehabilitation anymore. Their time together was filled with laughter, storytelling, and moments of genuine connection. The bond between them had deepened into something that went far beyond mere companionship. It had become a source of strength for both Henry and Luna. The time they shared was about so much more than healing. It was about finding joy in life again. One bright and sunny afternoon, Jessica decided it was time to celebrate Luna's incredible progress. She wanted to surprise Henry and Luna with a small gathering, inviting close friends and family to witness the transformation that had taken place. The house was filled with excitement and anticipation as colorful balloons and banners adorned the rooms. Jessica wanted this moment to be special, a tribute to how far Luna had come and how important Henry had been in that journey. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 3 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. When Henry arrived at the house, he was met with a warm and welcoming reception. Jessica, Sarah, and the guests had all gathered, their faces lighting up as Henry stepped inside. But what caught his breath and brought tears to his eyes was Luna. Dressed in a cheerful outfit that matched her bright spirit, she stood waiting for him. Without hesitation, Luna walked toward Henry, her step steady, strong, and full of confidence. Her smile was radiant, and in that moment, the wheelchair that had once defined her existence was nowhere to be seen. Henry's eyes filled with tears as he watched her approach. He couldn't hold back the emotion as Luna wrapped her arms around him, and he embraced her tightly. "Look at you," Luna, Henry whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You've done something truly amazing. I am so proud of you." Luna, her heart full of gratitude, looked up at him, her eyes sparkling. "I couldn't have done it without you, Henry. You never gave up on me." As they stood there, surrounded by friends and family, Jessica stepped forward, her voice warm with gratitude as she addressed the gathered guests. "Today is a day of celebration, not just for Luna, but for Henry as well. His presence in our lives has been nothing short of a blessing. The love and support he has shown Luna has been instrumental in her recovery, and we are truly fortunate to have him in our lives." The room erupted in applause, a tribute to Henry's kindness, dedication, and the incredible bond that had brought so much healing to Luna's life. As the celebration continued, there was laughter, heartfelt conversations, and a deep sense of shared joy that filled the air. Henry watched with a sense of fulfillment that was hard to put into words as Luna mingled with the guests, her confidence shining brightly. He could see how far she had come, and the pride he felt in being part of her journey was immeasurable. As the day drew to a close, the guests began to leave, and the house grew quieter. Jessica and Henry found themselves sitting together on the porch, the warm glow of the setting sun casting a soft golden light over the landscape. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, reflecting on everything they had been through together. Jessica turned to Henry, her voice soft but full of emotion. "You've changed her life, Henry. I don't know how to thank you enough for everything you've done." Henry, looking out at the horizon, smiled. "I didn't do it alone," he said gently. "Luna had the strength all along. I just helped her find it." The two shared a quiet smile, knowing that what had started as a simple arrangement had turned into something far more meaningful. The bond between Henry and Luna was unbreakable, forged through love, patience, and an unwavering belief in each other. As they watched the sun dip below the horizon, they both knew that this journey, while challenging, had led them to a place of healing, hope, and the kind of connection that could change a life forever. "Henry, I truly can't thank you enough for everything you've done," Jessica said, her voice filled with sincerity and emotion. "Luna's recovery has been nothing short of extraordinary, and it's all because of your unwavering dedication and love." Henry smiled warmly, his heart swelling with a deep sense of fulfillment. "It's been an honor to be part of her journey," he replied softly. "Seeing Luna walk again, seeing her smile, and watching her grow stronger has been the greatest reward I could ever ask for." Jessica nodded, her eyes glistening with gratitude. "You've given her more than just support, you've given her a new chance at life. For that, we will always be grateful." The celebration wrapped up on an emotional high, with Luna expressing her gratitude and joy, her heart overflowing with appreciation for Henry. The bond between Henry and Luna had become a cornerstone of their lives, a reminder of the incredible power of human relationships to conquer the toughest challenges. Their connection, forged through love, patience, and perseverance, was a testament to how deeply two lives could be intertwined through care and kindness. As time passed, Luna continued to flourish, her confidence and strength growing day by day, and through it all, Henry remained a cherished part of her life, a constant source of love, wisdom, and support. Their story became more than just a personal triumph. It turned into a symbol of hope and healing, showing the world the profound difference unexpected relationships could make. What started as a simple arrangement had blossomed into a beautiful example of how love, companionship, and determination could reshape lives. Henry's commitment had transformed Luna's life in ways no one had imagined, and their shared journey left a lasting impact on everyone who witnessed it. In the end, their story was a powerful reminder that happiness and healing often come from the most unexpected places. It was a living testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of love to bring light into even the darkest corners of life. As we come to the end of this touching and heartwarming story, we are reminded of the incredible power of human connection, the resilience of the human spirit, and the healing that can come from unexpected relationships. Henry and Luna's journey shows us how love, patience, and unwavering support can change lives in ways we never imagined. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from their story? Please share one thing you've taken away from this journey and how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life. We'd love to read your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.